Goat versus fish.
Yes, as a seeker of Goat versus Fish, I have a question that I hope you could address on one of your future podcasts. I was wondering how to tell the difference between a true and a false versus. Okay, thank you. And all praise to Goat versus Fish.
I don't expect it this way. This is Travis. Call me like.
Oh my God, it's the real Goat versus Fish. I'm so joyous to be leaving a message on your machine. Have a great evening.
Hello, Goat versus Fish. This is the goat with the rectangular pupils. I was just making sure I had the right number for Goat versus Fish. Anyways, thanks, man. Great show.
Jeevy, it's me on Mars. I got a question for you. Is a crab a goat or a fish? I'm confused because it's got legs and it lives under the water. Something to ponder about, yes. Something to ponder about. I do not know. That's why I ask you. So again, is a crab a goat or a fish? All I know is that they're delicious. All right. Goodbye.
The goat versus... Is this an answering machine? Or is this... This is probably an answering machine. This is an answering machine. Yes, it is. Okay. When you picked up, when I heard the goat versus fish, the catchphrase pick up, I thought it was a phone. But this is much better that it is a messaging system. That way, the one and only Purple Crusader can tell goat versus fish how his versus has been. Purple Crusader probably should have rehearsed something or played something. The Goat versus Fish is on speakerphone now. The Purple Crusader is very proud of Goat versus Fish because Goat versus Fish has blown up on the Grams Instas. And, the Purple Crusader admires Goat versus Fish for his ability to stand out so majestically and mystically, if you will. Let's see. The Purple Crusader is a weed superhero. There's a long story behind that. I'll save that for another time. But the Goat versus Fish is very motivating for the Purple Crusader to go even... But I think I might have reached my limit here. I heard a beep. Oh, well, this has gone on for almost 2 minutes. I will just say that Goat versus Fish is awesome and is an inspiration to the Purple Crusader to go up and above and beyond in his uniqueness and his ability to stand out as well. Yes. Goat versus Fish reminds Purple Crusader why it is good to stand out, because it is much better to stand out rather than to blend in, because you become invisible, and Goat versus Fish is not good invisible. Now there's the Purple Crusader. You are awesome. Plus, Purple Crusader, there's Goat versus Fish is awesome. And yes, that is all. Goodbye, Goat versus Fish. Let me try it in your way. Goat versus Fish and the Purple Crusader. That's all I got. Goodbye, Goat versus Fish.
You are a false versus. The true one is the bear versus bird. What is this Goat versus Fish nonsense? I object.
Hello and welcome to Line 2. We're really glad you joined us. You now have a full-featured second line on your device for calling and texting. Line 2 lets you manage your calls like a pro, with features like call waiting, voicemail by email, and additional features available depending on your plan. Thanks again for downloading our app. We really hope you enjoy it.
Goats, Nate Robinson Jr. here, checking in. You know, a lot of people, I always hear them ask, who is goat versus fish? Where does he come from? What is goat versus fish? But I never hear anybody ask, how is goat versus fish? How are you?
Hello, my name's M. Allen, and I spent most of my life a fish, but recently was converted to goat, and I may be sticking with goat, but who knows? It's all in the moment. Anyways, it's great to leave a message for the GoatFish on the Goat versus Fish hotline, and, you know, whatever it is, just don't sit on the fence, you know what I mean? Choose. Much better when you just go ahead and choose.
A hush fell over the city. There was only one thing in sight. A goat on one side of the fence, and a fish on the other.
Hello, goat versus fish. This is the goat with the rectangular pupils, saying that tomorrow I shall be leaving your California land, but I shall be going to Massachusetts with word of the goat versus fish. I shall tell all I know of the goat versus fish because of the hilarity of goat versus fish. So, this is the rectangular-eyed goat telling you, goat versus fish, that you are funny, and I shall spread the word. Thank you, goat versus fish.
Forgive me, goatfish, for I have fence sat. I know I am a fish, but I have goaty thoughts. I do not like. I am a fish for sure. I've got scales. I exhale through my gills and hide under rocks, and I'm very fishy around the ladies, you know. But I had goaty thoughts. I did not mean to. I've been drinking some fish wine, which is wine that has a certain effluvia of the ichthyoid race. And while I was doing that, I thought, what would happen if I were drinking that same wine, but I were hairy, and I also ate metal and had hooves, and my eyeballs had a different kind of pupils, and I had horns, and people associated me with demons. And then I quit doing that and went back to drinking my fish wine. Is that a sin? I was on the fence for a minute, and thou shalt not offend sit or be. I memorized my GVF catechism ology. I did. I did all of the courses in Monday school at the Goat versus Fish Academy. Listen to my pitch. Goat versus Fish. You see, that was the harmonic. That was the fish harmonic with the goat vocals. Very difficult to achieve. You can see how long I studied in the French school for this. I had forgotten about it when we had our previous interview. It's because of MK Ultra. There's not a goat or a fish in the whole program. It's just a bunch of people using electrodes to poke your brain. You think I'd play an accordion and wear an eye patch if I knew up from Saturday in the rain? I hope to hear back from you soon. I'm having an existential crisis right now. My cat won't even look at me. Tinky! Come here! Did you hear that? I said, come here. She said, no. Why don't you come here? She doesn't know if I'm a fish or a goat. Fish aren't supposed to like cats. What is this bear versus bird bullshit? Is it bullshit? Is it the goat versus fish that is this the volume of sacred scripture that I have missed? Please enlighten me. No longer on the fence will I be. Oh no! Here come the manic gypsy dancers at the carnival of insanity!
Hello, is this the Goat versus Fish hotline? This is Mr. Lobo from TV's Cinema Insomnia, and my answer would have to be goat, except on Fridays. Thank you, and good night.
Hello? Did I get the wrong number? What the hell? This is Abraham, the fence sitter. I'm sitting on the toilet right now on the fence, and I am a wonderful fence sitter, and as you can see, Donald Trump is also a fence sitter. He's building the ultimate fence, and it's going to be great. America will be great again. Hey, man, how come nobody answers the phone, man? What's going on? You guys need to hire a secretary, man. What's going on with this? I was expecting to speak to a goat or a fish. And then you wonder why motherfuckers stay on the wall and shit. Well, Man, oh man, oh man. I'm high as hell, and nobody's picking up the phone. Let me call you guys back a little bit later, man. And don't forget to sit on your local fence. And don't be a fish or a goat, or as I like to call it, a vagina or a penis. All right. Stay blessed. Peace. One love. Yo, yo, yo. One love, mother flowers. Yo, yo, yo. This is Abraham Butcher, a.k.a. Fence Sitter, Hot Hitter. Hey, just want to make sure that I wasn't supposed to actually get a voicemail, and I guess that is the case. As you were.
Hi there, Goat versus Fish. My name is Austin Kendrick. I'm 22 years old. I am a sound designer for TV and film, and I am obviously Team Goat. My favorite memory of Goat versus Fish was I was at Los Angeles Comic-Con 2 years ago, 2017, with a group of my friends. It was our first time at the convention, and we were standing by a booth looking through some stuff, and all of a sudden, Goat versus Fish walks in with no preamble and just loudly proclaims, "Goat or fish?" And that obviously drew my friend group's attention, and we immediately went over, and that was the beginning of everything. Every convention we go to now, we always look for Goat versus Fish, and I even carry my Team Goat card in my wallet every day because Team Goat forever. I don't have much to talk about, not much of a philosopher, but I will leave you with one question to think about as your week goes on. Does a straw have one hole or two holes? Just something to think about. All right. Have a good rest of your week. See you soon, Goat versus Fish. Bye.
Hey there, Goat versus Fish. This is Max Nowacki, the goat of the infinite jigsaw and casual speech. We versed at the Wake and Bake. We versed again at the Los Angeles Comic-Con. And now I come to you, my friend, with a question, something I believe only you can answer. I have been thinking a lot lately, and I've been wondering, do you think that Genghis Khan was a goat or a fish? How did he win so many verses? What was his secret? Or was he a fence sitter? Sometimes I think that may be the case. Perhaps the most power is in being a goat or a fish. Let me know. And everyone else can follow this at Max Malecki or at Goat versus Fish. Let the verses continue forevermore.
Hello, Goat versus Fish. This is a goat who was previously a fence sitter. I have accepted the mission, and I think I'm carrying it out. So hopefully you receive this message, and there will be many goats and fish messages in the future. Ta-ta.
Hello, Goat versus Fish. To answer your age-old question, I am fish. Thank you. This has been Doctor Who 42 from the Adult Swim chat. Have a great day.
This is Andy Southern calling in to Goat versus Fish Hotline. I'm glad to hear about the hotline to speak about goat and about fish, and verses and all in betweens. I've written a poem about goat versus fish to try to proclaim, am I goat or am I fish? Which are we? I don't know. I called right in to say I am a little goat and not the lamb. Nor ham nor fish in this big war, the goat's the victor over boar. I once was fish, or so I thought, until the truth was swiftly sought. And thus I came to be this way, a prideful goat, just on display. This line is here, and so am I, to proclaim glory to the goat and to the sky. Oh, why doth goat do tug upon my sleeve? Is it just me, or am I naive? I guess I called to ask this question, which has an answer I find perplexing. Goat. So use your time to think, not gloat. Are you a fish? Or are you a goat? These are some of the thoughts that came to my mind as I sat the other day and asked myself, am I goat? Or am I fish? It's a question we should all ask ourselves, and ask we do indeed, until there's no time left to ask. And so we sit on the verses, or so I think. I don't know. I found it confusing, perplexing, amusing, and distressing. Thank you for your time, Goat vs. Fish Hotline. I just needed to say what was on my mind when I think of goat versus fish.
Tis Paul Green, a noble yet humble fish in the great sea of fishes, seeking to find water and meaning in our life, bereft of all things goat, for we know not the goat in the water. For goats swim not in the water, but they do drink water whence from the water came. There was once fish there swimming therein, and this fish has left a message hitherto and forthwith.
Hi, this is Chelsea Grow, and I'm a goat. And I just want to say, keep grazing these greens, rolling them up and smoking them, honey, because that is medicine. 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 You know, I also want to say, life is short, but, these dreams ain't got to be, right? Well, either way, I guess I'm supposed to be funny. Maybe. I don't know. I just kind of want to talk, and I want to share my goatness with you. I do think that everyone should stop blaming marijuana for their homosexual behavior. There's some guys out here on Jerry Springer saying things like, oh, this guy made me gay with sativa. And I'm like, sir, if sativa made you want to suck it, the desire was already there. Again, this is Chelsea Grow. I've been a goat. You guys have been great. See you later.
My name is Jacob. I have been a follower of Goat vs. Fish since October 2019. When I first met the mighty goatfish, I saw him dressed in fine bathroom garb. This beautiful entity asked my comrades if they were goat or if they were fish. Instantly I knew I was goat, and to this day I am a loyal goat with my mission to versus the fish, always versus. Every convention I've been to, the mighty goatfish has been present. He's probably omnipresent by that fact. And as it is with every convention, I expect to see him at WonderCon, to be blessed with his presence once again. Amen.
I've always been a fan of catfish. I'm a fish guy.
What's up, Goat versus Fish? This is your good friend, the old Chaz Carter, calling you from my bed. I'm currently nursing a pulled tooth. I'm also on an edible. So I figured what better time to call you than now. I guess I'm supposed to proclaim what I've always been a fish guy, so I'm going to go with fish. Yeah. Also, I'm going to ask you, why are you not answering your phone? I mean, like, really? You give me your number and then you don't answer your phone? Like, who does that? You do that, apparently, because I'm leaving a message, right? Is that what's happening? Okay. What is there to talk about? I guess, how's life? What is the meaning? Why do we do what we do? You know? Who knows? Perhaps you know, Fish. I can't call you Goat and Fish. I'm just going to refer to you as Fish because that's the one I chose, you know? But as far as life's good, you know? I have a hole in my mouth where my tooth once was. It's awesome. I have a bunch of shows coming up. If you're free and around on Friday, you should come to Sauce at Desano Bakery. It's really cool, really fantastic place. If not there, then definitely maybe the Ruby next Thursday for the variety show at 8. That show's going to also be fun. And, yeah, I guess just call me back and get this message, Mr. Fish. I think that's all I can muster right now. I think the edible's really starting to kick in.
Hello there, this is Victor Martinez Jr., one of the original fence sitters. At least I like to think one of the higher ranking ones. Anyways, I was just calling to expound some fence sitter philosophy. I personally think that a true fence sitter is not someone who is indecisive necessarily, but actually sees the positive and negatives of both sides and chooses to be in the middle rather than being there because you can't figure out whether you want to be a goat or a fish. At the same time, it's not whether or not you can't figure it out or that you're choosing not to, but rather that that's what you were born to be, a fence sitter. And it's really hard to explain the mentality of a fence sitter in any other point of view other than the fact that that's where you always were, right in the middle, seeing both sides very clearly. I don't know. There's no other ways to really tell you what it means to be a fence sitter when it comes to the phenomenon of goat and fish, other than I'd say to follow your heart, and that fence sitters are friends of both, I'd say. Anyways, this is your friendly fence sitter Victor, signing out. One more fence sitter thought from your friendly fence sitter Victor. When you find yourself on the fence, be sure to get as high as possible. A low sitting fence is hardly a fence at all. And I think that the higher the ground, the better you can see both sides. So get high upon that fence if you just so happen to be on a fence. Fence sitter out.
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm calling first and foremost to identify myself as a fish, and then to talk about what goat versus fish means to me. I was recently exposed to goat versus fish, and so my initial response when I was asked if I was a goat or a fish was sort of to take it a little more literally and answer based on which animal I more closely identify with. Sort of jokingly, I said, "Oh, I'm a lesbian. Of course, I'm a fish." But also, I think between the two animals, I have, greater kinship with a fish than I do with a goat. So that brings me to how I've been pondering just goat versus fish as a concept and a piece of performance art, and it speaks to me on, I think, 3 different levels. The first being the most literal, which is which animal do you identify with? Are you a land mammal? Are you, an ocean-dwelling creature? But I also think upon looking at it, more deeply, there's definitely a metaphorical component to goat versus fish. And that's where it starts to get interesting for me, because as I've been thinking about it, I realized that there's a lot of religious iconography, and the high priest that presides over the goat versus fish ceremony seems to be talking about more primal questions of identity that relate, I think, possibly back to the religious symbols of the goat representing the devil and Jesus representing the fish, which doesn't necessarily mean it's God and the devil, but it could be evoking some more primal question about the nature of good versus evil, or just very, very primal and primary, identities, basic human identities. And I think the cool thing about it is, as the viewer and the listener, you can really ascribe to it whatever you wish. So you put your own spin on it. Are you identifying as good versus evil? Are you identifying as lesbian versus, heterosexual? Or is it love versus hate? I just think it can relate to so many fundamental struggles and so many sort of different polarities, which I think is part of its brilliance. Which brings me to the next level that goat versus fish speaks to me, which is just the artistic level. I'm a comedian, and I love to watch other comedians and performance artists work and upend the genre and explore it and push it to its boundaries. And goat versus fish, it does that. It's reductionist, but it's also extremist. It's absurd. It's profound. The level of commitment that the artist displays in performing it is so fun, and it reminds me of incredible cult, comics like Andy Kaufman, of course, and Steve Martin, people who really took the genre and played with it and mocked it, or paid homage to it, as it were. And I think that it's, humor like this that, that pushes the boundaries, and if you are in on the joke, you join literally and figuratively the cult of worship of goat versus fish. And I just think it's so much fun and hilarious. And I think the really fun thing is you can see it over and over again, and we'll probably get something different from each experience. And I think that's what's brilliant, when it's so reductionist that it's a canvas for viewers and listeners to almost write their own jokes inside of it, and it's silly and fun, and I really enjoyed it, and hope to see it again soon. All right, thanks. Bye.
Goat versus fish.